to talk a little bit about rattles. You've got these type here. These were sent to me by a company called Mad Cats, is where I get my rods, Mad Cat rods. They're small, they've got a hole, they slide on your line. A lot of people have seen me talk about a Catfish Day bling bling rig, and that's where I take a spook and I take some of these and add behind the spook. That does two things. It adds more rattle, but I've also found that these float as well. So what I'm doing by adding this style to this is I'm not only increasing the rattle, but I'm also adding flotation. The biggest problem we have using these types of floats is the flotation. For years, guys started out dragging or whatever using a styrofoam peg float. They're cheaper, they have their disadvantages. For one, they don't rattle, but they tear up easy. So these are a lot more durable. These look like a fish. Catfish have been known to hit artificial lures. This just adds another fish in the trail of your bait, you know. And I'd say shallow daytime water, they can actually recognize that that looks like a fish. Either way, in this video, I was dragging baits, and I got into this thing where I was dragging baits faster than what everybody else does. Most people are pulling 0.4, 0.5. Well, I was making some good videos this spring, dragging at speeds of 0.9. I think the fastest fish I caught was 1 mile per hour. But what I was doing that I wasn't doing when I was dragging last year is last year I was dragging with the regular styrofoam float. No rattles. And I was doing well at 0.4, 0.5. Well, I'd end up breaking a rig. And in this video I had one rod where I wasn't using this. I was using a regular styrofoam peg float. And I noticed as I'm pulling in and out of this creek, I'm not getting a single bite on that peg float. I'm thinking, Bottom line is I put some rattles, these type, with that peg float, and they made a pretty good rattling sound actually hitting that peg float. But as soon as I done that, I caught a fish. Now I think the reason for that could be the speed I was pulling, 0.9. At the slower speeds, I think they're more likely to key on just scent alone. And when I boosted my speed up to double that, they were having a harder time keying onto that scent. And so I needed more of an attractant. So we have the sight, we also have the sound, which is my guess why I have been able to catch fish at the much higher speeds. We're hooked up! tried to keep my bait. Old male up in here. 8 foot of water. This one's actually curling the tail towards the camera, which is very odd. Usually it's the other way. Either way, they still don't look long when they're doing that. We did score at 8 foot. Old rinky-dink small fish. Skinny, man. That thing ain't been eaten at all. This rain's trying to move in on me. It's already starting to sprinkle a little bit. Wasn't supposed to start till a few hours from now, and they're always getting it wrong. All these fish are covered in mud. I'll tell you what, these rattle rigs I've got are getting all the bites. That one on the right's got a slip float on it, and it's not catching anything. There's another one on an experimental run. He got a mouthful. That's an odd looking fish right there. That's an odd looking blue kit right there. Y'all, these fish are up here working on nests right now. You can see every one of them I'm catching on these males are all scratched up. Scratches all over them. So these fish with temperatures in the around 63 degrees are making nests right now, or preparing them anyway. They actually spawn at 70 degrees. That's an odd looking fish. He's up here doing his business. I'm gonna put me some rattles on that float. It ain't had a bite. We'll see if it catches a fish now. I believe them rattles do make a difference. That rod ain't had a bite all day, and as soon as I put them rattles on there, boom. Every rod has been hit repeatedly. I missed a good fish by not reeling down on it. He ran back to the boat. And this one ain't had a bite all day with just that slip float. And as soon as I put them rattles on, man, not 2 minutes after it's in the water, it gets nailed. So keep in mind, I'm pulling at a high speed, 0.9, and I believe, you know, all that extra speed and turbulence is what's got them rattles making a little bit of noise in the water. And like I say, I believe it helps a little bit. Either way, there's two different types of these. First ones I ever got of this was the Battle Rattle. These come from Mad Catz. There's a lot of makers of these things. Mad Catz makes my rods. I went ahead and got these. But you can see the size of the Battle Rattle. And, well, the problem I was having with the Battle Rattle is it was pulling like my skipjack chunks, gizzard shad pieces, heads, and body sections. But when I got to these really large skipjack heads, this wasn't floating them. This was tending to go back to the bottom and get hung up on stuff. So I needed a larger rattle. Well, I went by a bait tackle shop one day, and I bought a bunch of these head-in super spooks, and they're much larger. Took the hooks off them, and I noticed I was able to float my big skipjack. Eventually, I was using like heads off a 3-pound skipjack, and they still needed more flotation. That's when I started adding this type of rattle to this to give me even more flotation, and that's how I came up with what I call the Catfish Dave Bling Bling rig. I'm not the only guy that does that, I'm sure, but the biggest trouble I had with this type of rattle was finding a larger one. It's kind of a pain in the butt taking those hooks off. And I mentioned this problem on social media, and there's a guy, James Arnwood, he's got a terminal tackle company. It's called Hooker's Terminal Tackle. They sell anything to do with hooks, swivels, floats. They also sell these rattles right here. And what he sent me was a blank spook, just as large. It's a copy of the Hedden Super Spook. They are the same size. So now, you know, I don't have to take the hooks off these things. He's got two different colors in this large size. He's got a pure chrome one, like that. And he's also got these, they look chrome, but they got more of a mirror type fish scale look to them. So Hooker's Terminal Tackle, if you need large spooks, he has them. He also has blank ones of these that you can paint yourself, and they're a little bit cheaper. Now, the advantage that the Battle Rattle or the Hooker's Terminal Tackle spook has over one of these is these have a rattle in them, but it's not much. It's one large ball in there. And these Catfish guys have got together with somebody, and we're going to listen to the rattle in this. Now listen to the rattle in this. This is not one ball. You can hear a heavy ball plus probably a couple other small balls. These are a lot louder. I gotta sneeze. Either way, the Battle Rattle. Jesus. The Battle Rattle is the same thing. Multiple rattles. You can hear them much louder than. So if you add this with this, man, you got a lot of noise going on. Now, for these to work and to really be any benefit at all other than a slip float, the rattles, of course, need to be working. And when you are dragging at higher speeds, you're hitting rocks and sticks, and it's banging up against stuff. And the higher speed of the current going against this is help creating the vibration. Either way, I thought, you know, I've been boat fishing, 2 years now, and I'm experimenting as I go, and I have noticed pulling at high speeds, these things, the old spooks and the old rattles at high speeds can increase your catch. Like I say, Mad Cats, people make my rods, they carry this stuff. Hooker's Terminal Tackle for the larger ones, and they've got everything at Hooker's. They've got everything Terminal Tackle. So does Mad Cats. Just depends on where you want to get your stuff. You know. If you can find this on eBay, I wasn't able to find this on eBay. I was able to find these. They were blanks, and You could paint them yourself, and they didn't have much rattle to them. Matter of fact, I'll show you one. These are bulk Chinese. Guys say, well, if you get these, they're cheap, and you paint them themselves. And these are cheap. They're like $1 a piece. But if you'll look inside them, they've got one single ball. Okay, listen to that. It's where I take the Mad Catz Battle Rattle. Big difference, man. Big difference, you know. And as a matter of fact, the Mad Catz Battle Rattle is slightly bigger. Just a hair. It looks like it's about a ½ inch or so longer. Even fatter. So you're going to get more flotation. These things here, the only way I could see using these and still getting flotation and plenty of rattle would be to add a bunch of these to them. There's all kind of ways to do it. Like I say, if you're dragging at high speeds, like I'm doing, I do believe these things here make a difference. Hope y'all enjoyed the video.